But there comes a point where you can no longer deny. Once you can no longer deny, and the truth is shoving its head in your face, now you're in the cradle of anger. How could this be happening to me? How could our son just leave? How could my dad just do that? The thing you need to know about anger as well as denial is the following. All of us pathetic little animals in this room are after one single thing: power. With power, you can control your life. With power, you can plan out your day. With power, you know what to do with the next assignment. If you don't have that power, you don't have a GPS. What's the use of having all these dreams about buying a car, buying a house, going to school, but you have no money? You have no idea the amount of anger you'll have inside you once you get to a place where you're 60 or 70. Especially if you happen to be reflective, you're able to go back in time and examine, look at all the opportunities that were right in front of you, but you missed. And you're also going to blame other people for not being honest enough with you. Kind of like what he asked some years ago. You know, my father knew that smoking is bad. Why didn't he just kick me? Lock me in the room. Anger. When there is an event and you have lost all of your power, the only thing you have is anger. Now, let me say a couple of things about anger. Do not listen to Eckhart Tolle. Do not listen to Sadhguru. Do not listen to any of those YouTube teachers out there. You have every goddamn right to be angry. Why? Life is in the business of pushing all of us around. You didn't get into a marriage to be suffocated, and you are. You didn't sign up for a class because you enjoy it. It's just something for society forces you to do. You have to say hello to your customers even though you don't want to. All of us are forced into an existence that we didn't ask for. You live in a way you don't want to, you get sick in a way you don't want to, and you die in a way you don't want to. And you have to hang out with people whom you despise and hate and are disgusted, but you have no choice. Add to it the psychological aspect of it. Who am I? What am I? And God forbid these days if you happen to be part of the LGBTQ community. You have to fight with God, you have to fight with your parents, you have to fight with establishment. Take classes, have a job, make sure you have a couple of friends. And just in case you get bored, you have the resources to get yourself out. If you got crummy parents, that's just too much, man. Anger is not the issue, it's how you express it. In a culture such as this, none of us are educated enough to be able to express anger the right way. You know, the reason why it takes so long at the very beginning of the class to start any conversation is because I have no idea really where to start. Add to it. It's a complete waste of time. Now, There comes a point where you're just tired of being angry all the time. So you know what you do? You make a deal. You say, Amir, I thought I could do all the assignments. I realize I can't. Amir, knowing that I was lazy, it made me very, very angry. I know we only have 1 week left at the end of the semester. Can I make a deal with you? You can't tolerate yourself for being angry for too long. Other people will not tolerate you for being angry too long. So you have to compromise. You have to bargain. And like him, you bargain. What if I bring you a bag of cash? Will that get me a C? Allahu Akbar. You're sick, you're laying in your bed, you've always been nasty to your wife or to your husband, to your kids. You look at them and you say, I'm sick, I'm dying, I can't do anything, I apologize. If only I knew then what I know now, I would have behaved differently. And you're bargaining with your children, with your wife or your husband. You want them to take care of you. You're too weak, you can't do anything on your own. You want to access those parts in your circle, the people in your circle, so you can melt away all the anger they had because of you. But you realize, it doesn't matter how bad you feel about having wasted most of your time. Allahu Akbar. Psst. How easily you squandered away your youth, gave in to pathetic pleasures, used people in all the wrong ways. Now you wake up like myself and Ray and you say, today, whatever I touch, I'm going to turn them into gold. And then you get yourself off of the bed. You say, ow, my back. You haven't done anything the day I just started. You try to bargain, but it's too late. You're all alone. And then you know what happens? And again, do not be deceived by this how-to culture in which you and I live. There is no how to bargain well. How to be angry well. No, these are stages, man. You got to be cooked by them. And when you're fully cooked, if you ever graduate, then you will know. See, the problem with how-to culture is you're angry, you want it to be resolved in a week. It doesn't work that way. It's like turkey. You got to be in the oven for like 5, 6, 7 hours. Huh? When you realize that bargaining is not taking you anywhere, you get really, really, really depressed. Depression is an intense grief, that you have on the inside. You're all alone. No one can help you. You just got to live in it for a long, long time. Not to walk, not to express yourself too casually, because then if you ever get over it, you'll look back and you'll be embarrassed and ashamed by all the awful things you had done. And plus, depression does something really interesting. I had a student last semester, he was maybe 17 in high school. I forget his name, but the first couple of class meetings, he was really excited. And then one day he comes to my office and he says, I've suffered from depression ever since I was 12. I tried to encourage as much as I could. Eventually, when someone is depressed. And this is not just ordinary depression, this is chronic. When something is chronic, it means it lives inside you. You can't do much about it. Whatever you touch just dies. Do you have friends in chronic depression? Of course not. Do you have friends when you're angry? Of course not. You bargain with your friends. Come, listen to my heartache for 5-10 minutes, and then I'll buy you pizza. How many times can you do that before they no longer answer your phone call? For those of you who know the story of Layli Majnun, that is born in both the Middle East as well as India, something really interesting happens. This man loves this woman, but he can't get to her. She's about to get married to some prince out there somewhere. So he runs into a deer. A deer, you know those animals, deers? You know what they are, deers? They're like big mouses or mice. And the only thing he can do is he looks at this deer and says, go find this woman, tell her how much I love her. Whenever you feel too much, you're always going to be alone in your feelings. You have no friends. Remember, friendships are only in moments of comfort. Only. Anyone who is serious, anyone who feels too much is always going to be alone. Always. Okay? Now, what's going to happen to those of us in this class who find yourself in complete isolation because you feel too much, you're going to be like Jesus Christ in the Gospel of Mark. Once in a while, you find yourself in these moments where you say, let this cup pass by me. I feel too much. Why can't I be like other people? Other people laugh. Other people smile. Other people have a good time. Other people have friends. Why can't I be like that? And then you'll find yourself in these other moments that you can also borrow from the Gospel of Mark. You find yourself on the cross. And in your own unique way, in your own language, according to your own temperament, life experiences, you're going to say, Lama ama slava sabachthani. My God, why have thou forsaken me? You have no one. You got no dad, you got no mom, you got no friends. You don't even have yourself or God. You feel completely abandoned. Okay? If you're able to get over depression, and no one gets over depression, what you do, if you ever get to that stage, you're able to stand outside of it. And it happens gradually, a drop at a time. And from the outside, you look at your depression. From the outside, you look at the bargaining, all the compromises you were making or trying to make. On the outside, you look at the anger. On the outside, you look at the deny. On the outside, you look at the event that have led you to all these different stages. And then something happens. You accept. You accept the fact that you will never have any friends because you know too much and you feel too much. You also accept the fact that just because you know too much and feel too much, you can't really go through life all by yourself. You need a companion. Not because you love, but because you understand life. You're also going to have children, not because you're a great father or a great mother, not because you know how to be in a family in a healthy way. You're a woman, your body needs a child, just give it to it. You're a man, you're married to a woman, she wants a child, just give it to her. It's all called friendships of utility. Use life in a way that will benefit you. Now, the problem with acceptance is you really have to be in a place where you see things really clearly and you know a lot of things and you can kind of put things in the right places. So if before you would put your anger in the streets and you would fight people, now you write poetry. For those of you in this class who have wrestled with alcohol, maybe you're addicted to something, maybe you have a father or a mother or someone who has difficulties with alcohol. You know what happens, right? Life is tough. They want to forget. They want to be numb. They drink a little. And it's something of pleasure, you know. It's good to be able to forget your day. It's good to forget yourself, all the problems of life. And then you drink more and more and more. It's called chasing the ghost. And then after a couple of years, you realize every single day you drink about 2-3 hours. And then before you know it, you begin to lose your kidneys, and then your wife, and then your husband, and then your kids, and then your parents, and then your friends. And 20 years later, someone tells you, you're an alcoholic. You say, no, I'm a social drinker. You see, you deny it. When you lose everything, then you realize you can't deny anymore. You become really, really angry for being so stupid. But you want to overcome your attachment to alcohol. But you see, it's not about will. The past 20 years, you have inside you habits. You're not addicted to alcohol now. You're addicted to a certain lifestyle, certain friendships, certain places you frequent. And then you try. Your wife says, if you go to therapy, I'll stay with you another week. Say, okay. You try and you try and you try and you fail. And then when you have no one in your life, then you get really, really depressed. Then something strange happens, and it's very rare. You take this path towards sobriety, and then you're successful. Despite all the relapses, you're successful. And then you receive a call one day when someone says, you want to come and work at AA? You can guide a group of 12 people, 13 people. Why me, you ask? Because you thought that your dreams can easily be fulfilled. They weren't, so you visited alcohol. It began as casual pleasure. Then it became your religion. Then people told you that your life is going to be ruined, but you denied it. Then you realize that you're in fact an alcoholic. Then you went through anger. Then you went through the bargaining stage. Then you went through depression, and then you made it out. You have all the things that other people are going through. That's the wonderful thing about the last stage, which is acceptance. So for those of you in this class who belong to the LGBT community, but you're in hiding, and you want to come out and tell your parents, remember, the moment your mom gave birth to you, your dad gave birth to you, you came with a set of narratives that all parents impose on their kids. I'm going to save them and protect their innocence. I'm not going to allow society to ruin them. I'm going to see them go to school, graduate, get married, have grandkids, be successful. And so when you go to your dad or your mom, you say, Mom, Dad, I am gay. You need to understand, they're going to go through a loss of narratives they had about you. But it's not just your parents. You're going to go through loss as well. All of a sudden at the age of 15 or 16, you say, I am gay. For 15 years, you tried being straight. Alas, you've come to accept that you're gay. That transition is very, very difficult. You yourself are going through this loss of identity. What are you going to do? You're going to be angry. Your parents are going to bargain with you. You're going to bargain with them. It's not going to go anywhere. Oh man, you're going to be angry. You're going to be angry at yourself. They're going to be angry at you. They're going to be angry at themselves for not being able to accept you the way you are. Now, something really interesting happens when you find yourself in the cradle of loss, grief, anger. You begin to look for a cult. People who think like you, people who feel like you, people who are broken like you, so you can have the same language, have the same emotions, talk about the same stuff. That's what a cult is. See, when you sit with Ray and have a chat with him, if you're 20, you have a lot of questions for Ray, and Ray will just ramble on for hours. But when Ray and I sit, we have nothing to talk about. I just ask him, would you like a cup of coffee? He says, yeah, okay. And I ask him, well, what are you here for? Nothing, just to have a cup of coffee. Okay. Now, the thing about grief is that you can't exercise reason or rationality. Why? Grief is about emotions. Reason is not permitted to go into the world of emotions. You're paralyzed. Anger comes out of your emotional center. See, if I piss you off, what are you going to do? You're going to react. But you're a rational animal. Why don't you just hold yourself back and think about it a little? Like a chess game. What's the best path to take? But you can't really do that unless you're a pro, like James Baldwin. And you're not there yet. Neither am I. You're going to react. Okay? So emotions are always going to overtake. Always. The idea of your reasoning or rational components coming down like a Messiah to save you from the emotions that are going to consume you, they're only reserved for professionals. For professionals, not for you and I. And I don't know how anyone becomes a professional. But if you really want to kind of figure that out, you should read the lives of some Stoics. But before you do that, let me say a couple of things about Stoicism, and then we'll go home. Do you have any? I'm sorry, Thomas?
Why is there such a high expectation that everyone becomes a parent in society?
Oh, man.
You don't need so many kids.
Oh, you say this because you're a father? Are you saying this because you're a father? Oh.
I'm not a father. No.
See, Thomas, listen. Can I be honest? I don't like when people who've never been to the Middle East speak about the Middle East. I don't like when Caucasians speak on behalf of African Americans. I don't like when African Americans speak on behalf of Africans. I don't like when young kids speak about parents. I don't like it when men speak about women's rights, especially when it comes to their bodies, like pregnancy and abortion, all that. And here's the thing you need to understand, and it requires a good amount of self-awareness. Understand where you are. Because if you want to talk about fatherhood, you're missing so many components. Wait. you're missing some essential components that limit the way you think and feel about certain realities of life. I have no doubt you can write a great essay on old age. But when you're 20, your relationship with time is immature. Your relationship with your body is immature. You can write a great essay, you're just stupid. Just because you write well, it doesn't mean anything. None of us in this class enjoy responsibility for anything. That's not the way we've been wired. We want to go out there and just have a good time. We are pleasure-seeking animals. What, you think your father likes spanking you when you misbehave? Man, he tries to hold everything inside, and then it just breaks, and then he spanks you, and then he goes into a room and says, God damn it, patience, he's only a 2-year-old. It's not that your father doesn't want you to be a musician, but your father works 8 to 6 every single day to make some money. You may not know this, but behind closed doors, your parents sit at night and talk about their finances, how much they're short every month. And if your father can overcome his shame to go to his parents and ask for a few bucks, you have no idea how that works. You have no idea how that works when you got to go to Costco and spend money on diapers, on milk, worrying about public education for your kids, the cost of living, your kids going to school and getting exposed to crap. You have no idea. And eventually all parents, it's not because they want to, all parents eventually fall into frustration. Society is way too big, man. What can you do? Your dad wants you to be better than him. All parents do. They want you to prosper, to be in a place where they can never go. Your father tells you what? Don't be like me. Value your time. What can he do? He can only sit back and watch you waste it. Here's the thing, though. You and I will never understand about the sort of emotions that live inside people who are at a different stage in life or have different responsibilities. So you're never going to understand what goes inside him when he goes shopping. Because no one looks at you. And if they look at you because you're a good-looking man. They look at him not because he's good-looking. They're going to look at him, what is he taking? What is he going to steal? Why does he look like that? And I know that as a rational animal, you can understand all of those things. But what you're missing is the history, the emotions, the way other people make him feel about himself and his culture and his people. Intellectually understand, but it means nothing. You want your father to like you and just accept you the way you are. All kids have no choice but to destroy their parents' dreams. That's what kids do. You buy a brand new sofa, they piss on it. You buy a brand new car, they spill shit on it. That's what kids do. All of us in this class. Ray did it, I did it, you'll do it. See? You know why he was late? His little cousin pissed on him. That's what you said, right? I know, man. Once again, you guys have been successful in making me angry. I get it, man. You know, my parents came here for me because I was a crummy student of everything. My father sold everything to come here, everything. And I only understood their difficulties when I got to be 50. And I'm a healthy man. I mean, up here, I don't have baggages on the inside, but it took me 50 years. If you got garbage inside you, first you have to get through the garbage before you can understand your position, the position of your parents. Otherwise, it'll be impossible. You're far too self-involved. Do not underestimate the emotions that live inside parents, man. They're really, really like messiahs. You know, they carry a lot of stuff on a daily basis. They really do. I mean, unless they're just crummy people. I mean, I'm not talking about parents who just are drunks and even if they're drunks, you know, life is tough. It forces us to do things we don't really want to do, but we end up doing them. Anyways, our good friend brought you ungrateful animals donuts. Come, eat some food. You need some bad cholesterol. Come on.
Cardiologist.